Spirit of LightHawk Award goes to the pilot who was one of the top 5 pilots by total flight hours in the preceding year, is outstanding to work with, and represents the very best that the volunteer pilot community has to offer. Unfortunately, Mike Schroeder can't be here tonight, but it's our pleasure to present him with the Spirit of LightHawk Award. Mike's King Aaron. Mike has been a valuable member of the LightHawk Pilot Corps since 2016. During our 2020 to 2021 year, Mike flew a total of 10 flights. Program staff praise him as very easy to work with and very flexible in challenges arising in planning missions. His dedication to flying for LightHawk is exemplified in his efforts to fly Mexican wolf pups and cross-posturing during the pandemic. These are incredibly challenging missions to plan and execute due to the logistic and time needed from the capture to delivery. But now, as we know, moving the wolves around is crucial to survival of the species, increasing numbers and diversifying genetics in the wild. Add to this the pandemic where passengers were not allowed on flights, but Mike is not deterred and agreed along with his daughter to receive virtual training from one of our partners on how to take care of the wolf pups in the air, ensuring that they would be able to manage the project. Mike has been flying for LightHawk for 6 years, has supported the Wolf Pup project over the years, as well as being in his 3rd year of supporting transport of the masked bobwhite quail. In his usual fashion, Mike is an excellent representative for LightHawk and our conservation efforts. He truly goes above and beyond for flights that are sometimes hard to fill. We're so grateful for the dedication of Mike Schroeder and all our conservation partners. We're honored to work with him and look forward to future opportunities to continue flying with him. Thank you, Mike. I think he's in Arizona. For all you do, you are truly deserving of this year's Spirit of LightHawk Award.
Hi, this is Mike Schrader, Sedona, Arizona, and I'd like to express my grateful appreciation for the Spirit of LightHawk Award for this year. Unfortunately, I cannot attend the function that you're having in Washington, D.C. Each one of us pilots has a unique opportunity to serve the environment in many different ways through this great organization. So I encourage all pilots to participate as much as they can. I know it's not cheap, but the reward is great. We had 3 masked bobwhite flights this year where we took anywhere from 200 to 300 little guys from Bartlesville, Oklahoma to Ryan Field down in southern Arizona. We've also had other opportunities, and each plane and each pilot has a potentially different mission based on what the customer wants. It's a very rewarding opportunity, and flying for LightHawk is a very professional operation, and as a pilot, I really appreciate it. So thank you again for this award, and I look forward to more flights in the upcoming months and into 2023.
So you may have heard about the Rockwell Award, but it's my honor to talk about the Bill and Betty Rockwell Award, recognized as a volunteer pilot who embodies the generous spirit and flexibility of volunteer pilot Bill Rockwell from 1919 to 2000. Lived from 1919 to 2000. Bill was a generous and good soul who was always willing to go the extra mile for LightHawk. Bill was a World War II and Korea-era combat pilot. He began his civilian flying to take his family and friends on sightseeing tours across America, and he did this for 29 years. During these flights, Bill saw the rapid rate at which forests were being harvested for quick profits. That was his quote. This, in part, is what motivated Bill to begin flying with LightHawk in May of 1993. I'm honored to present this year's Bill Rockwell Award to Dr. John Priscu. Dr. John Priscu has been a great addition to the LightHawk family of volunteer pilots, and this year represents the generous spirit and flexibility of Bill Rockwell. Over the previous year, he has signed up for 10 flights and has flown 7 of those, totaling nearly 20 hours of donated flight time. We're not the only ones who've noticed what a great pilot Dr. Priscu is. After a flight, Christine Page from the Greater Yellowstone Coalition had this to say about him. My pilot, Dr. John Priscu, is an excellent and solid pilot, very familiar with the terrain and also fascinating to speak with. He was careful to provide opportunities to photograph everything I requested, banked and circled when needed, worked very hard to help me get shots of nearly invisible fences of interest, and was always attentive to terrain and safety. Dr. Priscu has been a fantastic person to work with, and our program staff is so pleased to have him as part of our team. We're thankful for his willingness to volunteer for flights and work with our partners to ensure that they are able to accomplish the goals of their missions. Thank you, Dr. Priscu, for your generosity and dedication. We're proud to recognize you as this year's recipient of the Bill and Betty Rockwell Award.
Hello, everyone. My apologies for not being able to attend the LightHawk annual meeting in person, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to present this short video clip. When I read Audrey's August email indicating that I had been selected for the 2022 Rockwell Award, I had to read it 3 times to believe it. I signed up as a volunteer pilot for LightHawk to fly conservation missions, and I was completely unaware that awards were even involved. That said, I am honored to have been selected for the Rockwell Award. Bill Rockwell was an exemplary individual who served his country in numerous ways. I share his views on aviation and conservation, and am grateful to LightHawk for allowing me to use my aircraft to provide conservationists, educators, writers, and photographers a view of Earth that would otherwise be unachievable. I like to say I have a small airplane with big eyes, and I think if more people could experience the view of sensitive ecosystems out the window of a small airplane at low altitudes, the world would be a better place. Every LightHawk mission I have flown was like being in a classroom for me. I learned so much from the clients, whether it be about golden eagle nesting, water issues in the Southwest, elk migrations in Montana, and just basic photography. I've become close friends with many of the clients, and we remain in touch today. Finally, I have to acknowledge Christine, Audrey, and Esther for all of their efforts and the patience they've shown me. There's no way I could have flown these missions successfully without their support. As an example, Christine Steele, who nominated me for this award, worked with me very closely on many missions. One example that was fairly complex was arranging for me to fly to Escalante, Utah, spend the night in my tent, get up in the dark, meet a photographer to fly the canyons of Escalante National Monument the following morning, return to Escalante Airport, spend another night in my tent, and eating beans and whatever else I ate for dinner, and get up the next morning before sunrise, fly to Page, Arizona, pick up a Navajo Nation biologist to fly eagle surveys through the canyons of Navajo Nation for 3 hours, and all that followed by my return to my home base at Hurricane, Utah. I just flew the airplane, which was the easy part. Christine had to deal with all the logistics, and we could not have done it without her. Finally, I'm grateful to many LightHawk clients that I've flown for their dedication to conservation issues that they represent. Once again, I'm honored to be the recipient of this year's Rockwell Award, and hope that I can continue to provide conservationists with a view out my window that would otherwise be unachievable. Thank you, and have a great meeting. I wish I could have been there in person.
as Rookie of the Year. As you can see, Martina has won it, and thank you very much. I actually was a recipient of this award, I think at 18 or 19, so it's very meaningful for me to be able to present and pass the torch, so to speak. The Rookie of the Year award recognizes a pilot who joined LightHawk during the preceding May to April, and immediately began contributing to the organization. By the way, thank you, Erica, just letting you know. I'm pleased to recognize Martina for this year's award. Mark flew his first mission as a member of the LightHawk Volunteer Pilot ranks in April of 2021. Over his first year, he flew a total of 5 missions with a total donated flight time of 17 hours, as well as signing up as a backup volunteer pilot for an additional 6 missions. He has flown for San Francisco Baykeepers to monitor algal blooms and gather footage for documentaries about water rights, an overflight with a newly formed California Central Coast joint venture to gather aerial photography to better communicate to their audiences, and on a quick turnaround flight to transport a California condor suffering from lead poisoning for successful treatment. One of our partners had this to say about Mark after a flight. This flight was great, as was the pilot Mark. I learned so many new things about flying in little airplanes. It was truly an amazing, eye-opening experience. Mark was an excellent pilot who was also very friendly and informative. Having LightHawk as an option to transport condors, ill or healthy, is such an amazing resource for the California Condor Recovery Program, and all of us are so thankful for this service. Thank you for everything you do. Mark has enthusiastically jumped into volunteering for flights with LightHawk, and we're excited to continue working with him. We're proud to present this year's Rookie of the Year Award to Mark Dina.
I was so lucky to get to know LightHawk. I had been flying some condor flights before I even knew about LightHawk. It was Joe Burnett, the condor biologist with the Montana Wildlife Society, and I sitting in the seat listening for a lost condor. We had antennas on a Cessna 182. And I was asking, well, how does Pinnacles, the other organization that now loses the condor, how do they find the birds? I said, well, they use an organization called LightHawk. And that stuck in my mind. I since then, several years later, retired from my day job. I was thinking about doing something like that. And LightHawk, I looked them up, and it's a great fit. And I feel so lucky to get to do the passion of flying and the passion of conservation work for this organization and get to meet all these great people. This latest mission that was mentioned about the condor, that turned into something that was really fun. The bird is named Traveler. She's a 25-year-old condor, California condor, a real tough bird who had eaten some lead and probably a ground squirrel, and had been discovered and captured and trying to nurse back to health at the Oakland Zoo. And the Oakland Zoo realized they didn't have the expertise to remove the bullet that was still in her gut. And could we get the bird down there to LA where the veterinarians can do this quickly? And that's when the call from Christine came in. Thank you, Christine, and Audrey for helping organizing all these flights. And that one called to me because that was full circle. This is the condors that I've been helping. And all of a sudden, I knew they helped that bird. And I've since learned that Traveler, the name of the bird, 25-year-old female, is a celebrity and is followed by all the condor enthusiasts. So it's been quite a ride with helping Traveler. Anyway, thanks, LightHawk. I really appreciate it.
Where's that? Okay, now we're to the President's Award. Gabby and Ken Adelman. The President's Award recognizes volunteer pilots who embody the spirit of volunteerism. The pilot has gone above and beyond, demonstrating their dedication not only to LightHawk's mission, but also to other organizations as well. This year's President's Award goes to Ken and Gabby Allen. Their enthusiasm is contagious, and everyone that flies with them expresses an admiration for their dedication and exemplary skills. We're so grateful that Gabby joined LightHawk's volunteer pilot ranks back in 2001, and then brought Ken into the fold as well. They have proven a dedicated pair, flying missions to help transport endangered animals across the country in their Cessna Citation jet, as well as conducting flights for media and communications in their Robinson R-44 helicopter. Critters that have hitched a ride with them include black-footed ferret, cheetah, panther cubs, California condor, Mexican wolf pups, and a plumado falcon, a falcon bird. Their impact on conservation efforts had not gone unnoticed by LightHawk's partners either. Bill Heinrich from the Peregrine Fund stated, volunteer pilots Ken and Gabby Allen flew 6 endangered falcons to Deming, New Mexico. The falcons were placed at a release site on the Armadarius Ranch. All of the falcons arrived in excellent condition due to the short transport time of just 2 hours. We're extremely grateful to Ken and Gabby, who in partnership with LightHawk made this flight possible. Beyond their work with LightHawk, the Adelmans are very active in the conservation community. They have put time and resources into cheetah conservation in Namibia, Africa, including providing resources to open a research station and support visiting scientists to help preserve this species in the wild for generations to come. We are proud to recognize both Abby and Ken Adelman for this year's President's Award.
Hello, LightHawk. Greetings from California. I'm Gabrielle Edelman, and this is my husband, Kenneth. And we are here to thank you for the amazing honor of the LightHawk's President's Award. Considering what other LightHawk's pilots do, it's really, really astonishing to us that we were chosen, but we're very happy about it. If you're watching this video, you don't need me to tell you how powerful conservation is when combined with aviation and how rewarding the two of them are. Ken's going to tell you a little bit how we both got involved in this aspect of conservation, and I'll tell you a little bit about some additional benefits that I find from doing LightHawk flights and other conservation flights.
In 1996, a success in Silicon Valley gave us the opportunity to buy a helicopter. We thought it was initially for recreation, but we quickly realized that the perspective you get in a helicopter, low and slow, is quite different than what you get in an airplane, and we realized that it would have enormous value to conservationists. We volunteered its use to the Sierra Club, which led to us being involved in a project to photograph San Simeon Point, which at the time was under threatened development by the Hearst Corporation. It was tearing out, I think it was a couple hundred acres of virgin forest and building condos and a hotel. The Sierra Club fight was ultimately successful. The development was stopped, but it got us thinking a lot. Coincidentally, at the time, we had met Laurie Marker, head of the Cheetah Conservation Fund in Namibia. Laurie used to work for a zoo in Seattle when she was much younger, and worked with cheetahs and realized they were critically endangered. And she asked the question, it's like, why doesn't somebody do something about it? And then she realized that the someone was her. She sold all of her possessions. She moved to Namibia and started the Cheetah Conservation Fund, which has been very successful in stabilizing the population, if not causing it to increase slightly, of cheetah in Namibia. We were having lunch with Laurie back in the States after our work with the Sierra Club, and told her about a lot of the threats along the coast of California, both to the environment, predominantly from development. And she asked us a question. She said, "What are you going to do about it?" Coming from her, that was a very powerful question, because she had answered the question herself, and it changed her life. Well, what we were going to do about it was photograph the entire coast of California. That ultimately led to our website where you can view the coast for free. It's been of enormous value to conservationists. And that's kind of how we got started in conservation.
So the additional satisfactions I get from doing LightHawk flights are the incredible opportunities, mainly to meet some amazing animals and people along the way. We have both been blessed by the opportunity to hold a live cheetah kitten, which is amazingly cute. We have seen black-footed ferrets, which are very rare and very important to the environment. And we have been in the same room with a live California adult condor and the people who take care of it. This is important to me because when I was growing up in the 1970s, I remember reading about how the condor was nearly extinct and the incredible efforts that people have done to allow this animal to still be on the planet and still fly free. And to be with an actual condor is something that I would never have been able to do otherwise. So I was thankful for that.
Again, we're honored this year to be chosen as the recipients for the LightHawk President's Award, and we thank you.
Carpenter Award. I'm delighted to present this award to a longtime volunteer pilot and supporter of LightHawk, and also a good friend of mine. The Carpenter Award recognizes the pilot who flies the most in his or her own plane. While he was nominated for this award because of hours in his plane this past year, we wanted to reach out further back and show Tom's incredible support over the past 12 years. Tom has been flying missions with LightHawk for more than a decade, has been heavily involved in the transportation of endangered species, especially Mexican wolves and Apalado falcons, which he has been transporting with LightHawk since the very beginning of our efforts to help restore these populations in 2010. Over the past 12 years, Tom transported 19 Mexican wolves, 71 Apalado falcons, 5 U.S. red wolves, 4 Kent Ridley turtles, and 3 loggerhead turtles to support captive breeding relocation and for medical reasons, and to release into the wild. One partner had this to say about Tom, fondly referred to as Wolfpack Pilot. His willingness to do whatever it takes to see the wolf missions through is certainly appreciated by the Mexican Wolf Program, and certainly by the wolves themselves who get to travel in style. LightHawk has enabled the wolf species survival program to move wolves in a safe and timely fashion, and has really made a significant difference in improved management of the species as a whole. We're very grateful for Tom's ongoing support of LightHawk and his enthusiasm for transporting the endangered species. His dedication and generous donation of so many flight hours over the last year are just some of the reasons we're pleased to award him with this year's Carpenter Award. Thank you. Beautiful photo, right?
Thank you. Thank you very much, LightHawk, for this outstanding award. And I really share with all the other volunteer pilots in the room and future volunteer pilots. I know there's another gentleman out there waiting to get signed off on some trips. And so I share this award with that person too. Time does go by quickly. I can't believe what Josh was saying about the trips I've taken and so forth, but they've been so memorable and so fulfilling. And here I am back with my family, which is very, very true after 2.5, 3 years, and it's just been wonderful. But thank you very much.
Platinum flyers, I believe, are the pilots who have been recognized for flying at least 15 years. We've also put up other milestones for pilots here who have been flying grateful for all these pilots who've flown on behalf of LightHawk for so long and made such a difference to advancing our mission over the years. 15 years. Matt Verdiak, Joe Fischetti, Scott Ryan, Alan Timback, and Michael Baum. Okay, before we end tonight, we'd like to recognize and remember some dear friends from the Volunteer Pilot Corps and the LightHawk community who passed away over the last couple of years. As is our tradition, let us have a moment of silence to remember and honor them, those who have gone west. Thank you for that. And to them, we'll raise our glasses and we'll say, for those who have gone west, blue skies and tailwinds.